What is up, everyone? It is me, Mark Schwann, here for another episode of Go Brand Yourself, a local media podcast. You'll see that I am without Stony Browder today, my co-host, but I am for the first time interviewing two people at the same time, which is a lot of fun. I know this girl from high school. I met her husband as my very first clients here with local media. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for one of my favorite podcasts, a movie podcast called After the Kid Goes Down. The host, the founders, ladies and gentlemen, Nicole and Matt Robinson.
Yeah. Hey, woo, that was quite an intro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I try to be like, a hype man, if you will. I mean, that's what I do in wrestling. I try to do that for my guests here.
I like it. It works.
Good. I feel like I need to talk some smack to somebody now.
I feel like I need that recorded to play before we do every podcast episode. Just like to be like, yes, pump us up. That was great.
Hype you up, man. I got some music in there too.
Yeah.
But hey, you guys got some nice brewskis going on here. Can you talk a little bit about that real fast?
Yeah, so this is these beers from one of our local breweries, that Mixed Breed Brewing. We try to drink it a lot on the podcast. It kind of we started doing that because partly based on your suggestion at local media and try to get some local businesses invested and some shared likes, hopefully, and some shared what do the kids call them, interactions. So
synergy.
Yes, exactly.
So we like their beer anyway, and they're like 2 miles from our house, so we figured why not we drink them as much as possible while we review movies and talk to fine young gentlemen like yourself.
It's a win-win, man. And also it's great because you get the brand across there, supporting local. We're all about supporting local here within the community. It looks delicious. Like I'm salivating for that beer right now.
They're good. They're real good.
Yep.
Which brew is that?
I got Boomski, which is my favorite. And I don't know how close I can get, but it's the Green Day Dookie, but like for Boomski for their beer. It's an IPA. It's super good.
It's also 9%, so Nicole's gonna be lit sauce by the time we're done recording this.
Oof.
It doesn't take much.
9%. That'll knock me on my ass.
I went with the 6.6% Veil Pale Ale, which is like a pretty basic, like almost Sierra Nevada type of pale ale. A little more bitter, not as juicy and sweet as Nicole's, but just like herself.
Oh,
is that weird? Juicy and sweet?
It's a little strange. Thank you.
So yeah.
So basically, Nicole is going to outdrink you today. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, and what's
I mean, it's not hard.
What do you mean it's not hard?
Oh, the smack talk begins.
Well, yes. Well, funny story. If we have time, Nicole, when we first started dating, and then when we first got married, the whole reason I'm a whiskey drinker is because of my wife. As weird as that sounds,
that's amazing.
Bourbon, please.
She used to travel for work, and she started drinking whiskey because you would go to
bourbon.
Bourbon. She would go to Kentucky, right?
Yes.
And drink bourbon, then come back up. We'd go out to like a date night, and I'd be like, "Oh, can I have a Labatt Blue?" And she'd be like, "Give me a whiskey." And I was like, "Well, I can't." Now I have to drink bourbon because my wife's crushing bourbon on the rocks, so I'm drinking like a light beer. So then I got into bourbon. Now she doesn't drink it so much anymore, and now I'm the bourbon person in the house. But
Matt, me and you have something in common. Our wives taught us how to be men.
Yes, as it should be. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, so obviously married couple here, starting your own podcast, right? I mean, I know I have two podcasts, not an easy thing. So talk to me about this journey. Like, you guys obviously you review movies here After the Kid Goes Down. I love you guys' chemistry together, but
thanks.
Talk to us about that road, starting the podcast as a married couple. Obviously, business decisions have to be made. Walk us through that path.
Well,
I mean, do we throw it back as far as college?
I don't think we can go back that far. But when we first started dating, we were doing the long distance thing. Long story short, we were blogging back when blogging was a thing.
Yeah.
Where we would, in order to keep the distance relationship going, she would tell me, "I can't believe you haven't seen this movie." I'd watch it. Then we would blog about our reactions to it. And that was kind of like the podcast in its infancy.
And movies were like our thing.
Yeah.
They were the thing that connected us. And so we decided we're just going to do this. And we were I don't know if we were like great at it, but we like gained a small following in the short time that we were doing it, and we loved doing it together. We stopped doing that when we had our first kid.
Yep. And then
6 years ago.
Well, when you first moved up here, a local newspaper kind of quasi hired us to do it for them because one of them found us online. And we started doing it for them, and they published a couple of our reviews in like article format, which was it was a dialogue. So it was like Nicole, her thought, me, and went back and forth, which was unique. But they didn't pay us, and they wouldn't pay us, and it became a little bit of like you said, business decision. We were like, well, if you want us to do it as much as you want us to do it, like movies are expensive. So we kind of got away from that, had the kids, and then during COVID, we were looking for something to keep us not just married.
Well, we had talked about doing a podcast for a while, and it just seemed like, I think as many, people experienced, like in the middle of lockdown is a time as any to start a new hobby. And again, like we hadn't done it for 4 years, I guess, at that point, and we missed it. We missed reviewing movies together. So we thought the podcast would be a great way to go. And so far, it's been fun.
Yeah, it started in season 1 with just the two of us and me editing on GarageBand. And then we developed a little team where we got Nicole Ariana to be our researcher. She does all of our research. My buddy, my friend from high school, Kate Falconer, is a musician out in Seattle and a music teacher. So we tapped into her to actually edit all of our podcasts. So we sent her the raw.
She wrote our intro music too.
Yeah. So originally I was doing like really cheesy GarageBand intro music. And then if you go back and listen to season 1, probably about midway through the season, it sounded legit because Katie took over.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. Like a rocket ship countdown and like 3, 2, 1. And then like we start. So she wrote like, it was really cool though to witness her. She sent us like 4 or 5 different samples of theme music. We picked
what's the vibe you want. Like it was really cool to go through that process with her, and come up with what we came up with. I love our little intro music.
I love it too. It fits you guys so well. And it's funny. You guys, I mean, it's a small podcast, but it's a growing brand. But you guys went so professional, I feel like, so fast. I feel like right now, if my podcast host for Shot of Wrestling were listening to this right now, he'd be so jealous because the biggest thing he hates about doing the podcast is editing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a task. We're very lucky that she's edited her own music throughout her career. Katie Kate is her musician name. And she was just like, I kind of want to get into the like editing podcast game. I want to put that on my resume. So do you mind if I edit your podcast? So we're like, oh
yes, please take it.
Yes, it's invaluable. And she does such a good job because she cuts out all those like
she makes me sound really smart. Like
even like for our most recent episode in D&D Honor Among Thieves, we had audio issues where there was like a clicking early on, and she like got rid of the clicking. I don't know how she did it. She did like magic, and she's just like, to me, it's a crucial part of everything we do. It was her spending a little extra money on good microphones, that type of stuff. Finding the right room. I did a room test in our house. I went to room and test the ambient noise and all that stuff. And everybody that listens to our podcast tells me it sounds super professional. I mean, Mark, I don't know about you. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the amount of podcasts that don't sound professional is crazy to me, but they still have a lot of listeners. So like I think it's something we do well and we take pride in. But the amount of podcasts that sound like they're recorded on like AirPods is like crazy to me.
Right. And honestly, I felt guilty of that before the pandemic, right? When I started doing the podcast with Shot Wrestling, when I entered with Putty. But like, as a podcast, as the pandemic started becoming longer and longer and longer, it's like, all right, well, we can't go back to doing it in person anytime soon. I thought the whole Zoom thing would last maybe a couple of weeks. I mean, the president at the time said this thing would last till Easter. He was dead wrong. And
no,
so hindsight.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I decided to invest more into the equipment, take this more seriously, and lo and behold, the pandemic, don't want to say is over, still feeling the ramifications of it, but you know what? We've evolved now. It's hard to go back to the. I've moved. I have a daughter now. Things are easier as far as doing the podcast away, and it's great. I mean, when you invest in yourself and you invest in your brand, that's the best investment you can make.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's showing to yourselves, to your audience, and to future sponsors that you take yourself seriously.
Yeah, and I think that's helped us a lot. Like, it's easy when you create content. When you create amateur content, people assume it's like home videos and recording a podcast on your phone, and all of a sudden when they tap into your podcast or your whatever content it is, and you have a real logo and you sound professional and you've been doing it for more than like 3 episodes and you have a following on Twitter that's more than 50 people and on Instagram, like all those things all of a sudden slowly build the momentum, and people are like, oh shit, they're not just some random dude in his basement recording about movies, that they're putting effort into it. Nicole does a great job of keeping us on schedule. There's spreadsheets for days and we have a Google Drive, but like
I do.
you have to, like, it's very hard to do this and stay on track without some sort of organizational mind, which Nicole is in our team.
And you need that. And kudos to you guys, honestly, because you can probably easily do it yourselves, but you recognize, hey, listen, time management, organization, et cetera, et cetera. It's important to have a team, and a team that you can trust, right? And finding that is so hard. And clearly you guys have been doing it for how long now? Since what? You said 2020, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we're in the middle of our 3rd season now. The theme for this season is 2010 Best Picture and Best Foreign Feature nominees.
And we just released our 75th episode. So, yeah, exactly. That's pretty impressive.
It's just, it's very insane to me. But it's so much fun. It's insane that like more than like, I feel like anytime we drop a podcast, it's like at least 40 automatic downloads. And that the fact that, and I definitely don't know who all those 40 people are that like have subscribed and actually get it right away. And that's crazy and awesome that there's people that find joy in what we do and like listening to us and engaging with us.
The fact that, like, I was looking at our stats the other day on Buzzsprout, which is the website we use to disperse the podcast, and every season they give you that first 7 days download graphic, and every season it's gotten more. So like season 1 it was like 15, and then season 2 it was like 25, and now it jumped up to 45. And we're finding that you never know how stuff's going to be listened to. We're finding that we're getting more downloads quicker, but not necessarily on our newest episodes, which is like a curveball we didn't anticipate. Well, we thought people would like listen episode to episode or like really wait for the new releases, but we found that people listen based on movies they've already seen. Some of our highest episodes are ones of like, the classic Halloween movies, or like just big time movies that a lot of people see and want to talk about, which I didn't anticipate when we started it. So it's funny to watch listenerships come in and what they're focusing on.
It's funny you say that, because I know how you guys work as a podcast, because I've listened to quite a bit of your episodes, but I find myself gravitating towards the episodes of the movies I've already seen.
Yes.
Right. Because like, God forbid it's a movie that I want to see or I haven't seen yet, and a spoiler comes out, and I'm very big in movies, so I don't want any spoilers, but I do love the fact that, I want to hear your guys' opinions on movies, especially when it comes to a particular movie, because there are times I agree with both of you. There are times I only agree with one of you. There are times I disagree with both of you passionately.
I hope you're yelling at your phone when that happens.
But no, I just enjoy it though, because it's interesting to hear other people's perspectives. And honestly, I find it so entertaining too when you guys bicker at each other about some of the stuff. Again, great chemistry that you guys have. Obviously, coming from the marriage there, it works beautifully. And I think that's a big thing with podcasts too. Like, you can have the quality all you want, but if the chemistry is not there, it's going to be a failed podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I find I don't listen to many of our episodes. I have a hard time watching content I've created or listening content that I've created. But my most enjoyable listens are when it's like me and Nicole and Ari, or when it's a third person. Like I think listening to a lot of people talk about something they're all passionate about is always super interesting. So
I don't know. I listen to every episode because I help Katie edit them. I listen to the rough cut. And there are times though, like there are certain episodes of our pod that like, so like for instance, at the end of it or at the beginning of every new season, I run a trivia for the season previous. That's only, I've done this twice now, but I've gone back and listened to some of our episodes, and I have found myself like accidentally listening to full episodes because I find them so entertaining. So,
but that's good though. That's good.
Like I think Blowout was like one of my favorite episodes from last season. I listened to the whole thing. I was like, this is a great movie. Let's watch it again. So
when I listen to my own podcasts, right, I listen mainly because I want to see what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? How can we be better? Right. I'm insane like that. But there are certain times where there's certain episodes like, man, this is really good. Like I get really get involved as if like this is not me, as if this is someone else. And it's like,
right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's organic. It's hard to like artificially replicate that. And sometimes I feel like when we're recording, I don't feel great about it, but then the end product comes out well.
And that's a lot to do with Katie.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's tough to gauge in the moment. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, that was a great episode. And then like it doesn't get a lot of listens or it doesn't get a lot of downloads.
But that doesn't necessarily, let's get into this actually. That doesn't necessarily have to do with the product itself. It comes down then to marketing, SEO, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So as we talked about beforehand, you were the very first clients of local media, which was, it's awesome to us. Like, they say you never forget your first. And no, but like, it was so meaningful because, we just started off our company and you guys decided to take a shot on us when we literally just started. And it seemed like you were quite happy with what we did here, your consulting clients here. Talk to me a little bit about this. Like, what made you decide to choose us local media and why did you feel like you needed it at that point?
I forget what the name of the website is, but it's one of those websites where you can like post a job description and they'll send you like a ton of freelance marketers to look at or whatever. The week that you started your company and put yourself on Instagram, I had like the day before finished my job description for this website because we felt like we were like, okay, we want to take this seriously, but we both have no idea what we're doing. And I know just because, so I work in publishing, so I understand like the relationship between like marketing your product and the actual product that you have. It's a very important, and I only know enough about it to know that it's important. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I knew that we needed help. When I saw your Instagram grow up, we feel, and we talked a little bit in the beginning, like I feel very passionate about supporting local businesses. And I knew you from high school. I always admired you. And I thought, don't
make me cry here, girl.
Let's do this. It was so like everything sort of like the stars aligned. It was super fortuitous. Like I was ready to hit submit and then I saw local media pop up. So you were helpful. Even that first conversation that we had, just talking about, was it just like allow yourselves to have fun with what you're doing? You gave us so many, they were like, a lot of them were like common sense tips that like, I just never, if you're not in the business, it just doesn't cross your mind. And all of those like little things just amounted to so much. And we're not like off the charts popular by any means, but we grow organically month after month. I'm not losing anybody. I'm growing on my Instagram. He's growing on Twitter. We've been having a lot more fun with it. We've been allowing ourselves to be ourselves. And it's all stemmed from the conversations and the strategies we put together with you in the beginning.
I think the important thing that Mark, you gave us, at least me personally, and the podcast was the ability, not the ability, but the knowledge of how to use social media in a way that I had never used it before. Because using it as a casual user is vastly different than using it to grow a brand or talk about a product. And getting used to being a content creator and getting used to, like you kept telling us, selling your brand was difficult. And then you gave us clear rules to live by on social media to help grow our followers, and it worked almost immediately.
Yeah.
And it was again, like Nicole said, it was stuff that made sense, and all of a sudden it was like, you've opened my eyes, like, oh, this is how Twitter is not supposed, that's how it's supposed to work. It's not just tweeting angry stuff or putting photos on Instagram of food. It's like the true engagement and back and forth of looking at comments and following people that have the same bios as you and all these things. And then you realize kind of the power of social media. Like, you find peer groups in the social medias, and then it all grows from there. And then all that stuff opened up because of the rules and tools that you showed us. So the
Oh
social
man.
media growth we've had has been, I would say, almost mainly due to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that hits right here. You have no idea. It's amazing to see, and I can tell what you guys. It's such a difference, going into when I first talked to you guys. Lots of questions, confusion, a little bit of angst because, there's so much pressure when you have a business, and like, I need to convert this into some sort of numbers. I have the results, yada yada. Like, businesses and brands, they put so much pressure on themselves, right, to do that. But they think inwardly, but you really have to think outward. And it's amazing to see that transition. It seems like it happened pretty fast for you guys. It's that journey can be longer for some. Me personally, it took actually a little bit longer for me to realize that. That it's when you think outwardly, as far as like as a brand on social media, the results are so much more rewarding than anything else.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I think it also helped that we got almost instant feedback. Like, right, it's like whenever you make a change in your life or you learn a new skill, if you have success early on, right, that's always the key. Success early and often, it reinforces the habit. Now you're going to do it more and more. And the things you had us do, we gained followers almost right away. Now, of course, with everything else, you gain the followers, you see it increase, and then it starts to plateau. So then it becomes pushing through that. And then I think what I've learned about this content area and social media is it comes in bursts. So you get a lot of followers, and then you kind of reach a little peak, and then it becomes, then they keep growing, but they trickle in. And the trick that the stumbling block I've run into on Twitter is that you almost get so specialized based on the algorithm that I start seeing the same people over and over again, and it's become harder to get new followers. I'm still getting new followers, and I haven't lost any, which is good. But it almost becomes like what's that called? Like an echo chamber on Twitter.
yeah.
It can be, and with the recent changes in Twitter, social media has become since
Wild West.
Yeah, since we've had conversations before about it and
Yeah.
on what to do. Like, it's just been such a major shift, especially Twitter. Like, yes, like, naturally you do hit a certain plateau, but then you can fight through it.
Yeah.
Right, it is possible. I've seen it before on different accounts. Like, you grow fast, all of a sudden you just kind of stay stagnant a little bit, but like, you're not losing anyone, but you still can grow, which is great. And but with Twitter now, it's, I hate to say, it's almost become a pay for play. And it seems like the rules are changing every single day. The way I equate Twitter right now is like you're in the casino in Las Vegas right now, right? And you have Elon Musk that bought the casino, and you are there to lose unless you buy in. House rules are changing every single day, and it sucks for small businesses and growing brands, but there's still nothing like Twitter. I pray to God that something will come to combat it, to be an actual competitor for Twitter. I know people frolic to Mastodon, Hive, insert B-list platform here, and none of them are really paying off because they don't have the resources, they don't have they don't have the clout, they don't have the substance to maintain and combat Twitter yet. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things going on right now on social media. But the thing is, you still be consistent on there, play the game, know what's going on, do your research, and find a way how to stay relevant, to keep your nose up.
The one thing I've seen more of this season than I saw in season 2. So season 1, and then when you jumped on, Mark, and you joined us a little bit for the marketing aspect, was all about getting followers. Now in season 3, I'm getting more engagement almost from non-followers, which is kind of interesting. So I'm getting more likes from randos, I'm getting more retweets from randos, and it's almost like you said, it's like Twitter's changed a little bit, and you almost have to play the game and figure out how has it changed. How it's not what it used to be, but there's still gold there. You know what I mean? There's still a way to get it.
There's still a way. Absolutely. Absolutely. I see so many people jumping off ship on Twitter. Fine, so be it. Good for you. But I would be hesitant for anyone to quit because there is still gold there to be found. And same with Instagram. I know Instagram's going through its own problems. TikTok, people need to ride that wave for as long as the United States government will allow it. And it's just such a crazy time of social media because we talk about it quite a bit. It's going through such a seismic shift, right? Me and other social media managers, we talk about this. We don't know where it's going, right? Some people are calling it the death of social media, which I don't believe is true. I think it's evolving. We just don't know what's evolving to right now. But the main thing that you guys need to do for any small business, for any growing brand, is to ride the wave, to figure out what is working, how is the algorithm changing, how can it benefit me, what can I do, and stop focusing on the result and have fun with it. Really, going back to the core principles.
Well, that's one of the core principles you taught us, was have fun. And one thing I've started doing more is utilizing the after the kid goes down Twitter handle. It's just almost my own personal Twitter handle, and I comment on people using my personality. I retweet things I think are interesting, and since I started doing that, that's where the interactions and engagements are coming more. But I also think that social media is only one part of creating your brand and content. I think locally, word of mouth is still, I would argue, one of the most powerful tools there is. And we did this early on. I'd like to do it again. We're dropping after kid goes down stickers at places. It's hard for us to get out because we have 2 kids, but if we can tap
Preach.
I know if we can tap into some more local businesses, which is kind of what we're going to do next, and get some sponsorships and do more maybe live events and get the word of mouth going, then social media is just another part of the whole train.
You created a wonderful data business card for us that we are gonna be visiting some local places and handing that out. And right now the partnership that we have with Mixed Breed has been just sort of like mutual shares. But I think that in future we're going to start asking for real sponsorships, and use the tools that you gave us to do that.
You've leveraged yourself where you can do that, though. The numbers are there, as we saw in the infographic that we created for you. The numbers are there to because you're not just a podcast, you're a brand. And this is something I preach all the time, because it's not about what you do, it's who you are, what your brand is, what your brand value is. After the kid goes down, you guys are a podcast right now, but you guys evolve to anything and everything else, as far as what movie related goes, as far as what parenting goes, the local community goes. You guys can evolve to do so many other things, right, as a brand. So there's brand value there. And I think kudos to you guys for doing it, for recognizing that social media is just one facet of it. Because this is a business. A brand is a business.
Yeah, and
you guys are acting such.
Yeah, we're teetering on that right now, where you said it when we started the episode, business decisions need to get made. And when you have a family of 4 and you're putting in more and more time and money into the product, we still have to raise a family, we still have to go on vacations. So at some point, let's say we need new microphones, or we want, right now, these are these mic stands are connected to like a used car table we had downstairs. We have one ring light we're using right now. Like at some point we're spending money, but we're not bringing, there's no cash flow for our brand right now. So ideally, I think our next phase in our podcast ideally would be to get a sponsor or two, not to pay us to do the podcast, but say, hey, can you buy this, this, and this for us? And in return, we'll do this for you. Like that's kind of the next, to me, hurdle in this. Even if we can get people to, like I said, buy us 2 new microphones or stuff like that, and we'll do trivia nights at your bar, those type of things. Like leveraging, like you said, that data card infographic you created for us to demonstrate we have value here. We can bring more people through your doors.
It's a return on investment. That's what you're looking
Yep.
for. And rightfully so. You should, because you guys, you have value. You're a great podcast. I'm not just saying that because I know you guys. You guys are a legit great podcast. And obviously you want your efforts to be rewarded for it in some capacity, to at the very least to keep going and to evolve, to eventually make more money, to feed that family of 4 and to grow the brand. Maybe one day you guys can quit your jobs and this is your full-time thing. That's the dream.
That would be, that's
the dream, right? But it's possible. I wouldn't laugh like that. It's possible, but it's a matter of putting in the work. And it seems like you guys are more than willing to put in the work, and I commend you guys for that. I think it's amazing and it's admirable. Nicole, you're talking about admire me what I do. I admire you guys for what you do as a couple, and your kids are seeing that, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal,
and it is work, and but like any good job, if you love it, you kind of get through it, and like
you get through it.
Well, there's nights where you, especially as a family of 4, and you put the kids to bed, and you know what you want to do? You want to sit on the couch, crack open a beer, and just watch reruns of New Girl. But instead, we have to watch a German foreign language film from 1972, and it's like, oh, but you gotta keep it going. It's and then when we're done watching the movie, though, record the episode. I would say we always have fun recording the episodes. Like we enjoy the episode, but it is work sometimes to get to that point because you have to set aside time. You have to set aside some money. You have to organize. It's a lot of organization,
Yeah.
And for any dream, and I'm an actor, right? That's always been my dream. There are certain things about being an actor that is work that I don't necessarily enjoy to do, but that you have to do to get to work.
Right? Oh, I saw your villain clip today. That was pretty good, man.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. But like same with you guys. You guys clearly enjoy what you do. You enjoy movies. You enjoy each other. You enjoy doing the podcast. You enjoy beer. You enjoy the beer that you're working with the company, with the brewery. You guys are finding facets of what you enjoy and putting it all together. That's the dream right there. Like you guys are crushing it. I appreciate you guys together here. And I appreciate your time here for joining us for Go Brand Yourself. Any last words for you guys?
Oh, thank you for having us. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for helping us see that like this can be fun and we can be ourselves and we can grow. Your help is invaluable.
Oh, again, listen, I value you guys so much. Thank you for taking a shot at us. And I'm so glad that's working for you guys. Hopefully have you guys on again. And guys, after Kid Goes Down, take a listen. Season 3 coming out. Where can you find me on social media? Let's plug that one.
I'm on Instagram at After the Kid Goes Down, and he's on Twitter
at Kid Goes Down Pod.
He can say it. And
you can find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Anybody listening, make sure you subscribe and listen. If for another reason, just follow us on our podcast journey and how we grow.